everyone! I'm Liza, Karen,
Angelica,
And I'm Cyrene.
and we are the IskoTechs. We are here to show you how to build a PC that is under the budget of 75,000 pesos that is specifically procured for multimedia specialists within only 10 basic steps. For starters, the core components in setting up our PC are the following: a CPU, a compatible motherboard, a CPU cooler, a memory, a storage device, a graphics card, a PC case, and a power supply. The only necessary tool to complete this setup is a screwdriver with an optional use of thermal paste and screws. Now, shall we start?
Step 1. Ready the motherboard. Take the motherboard out of the plastic wrapper and put it on top of the box it came in or on your mud mat. Next, open the socket by using the lever. Ryzen 5000 systems use the AM4 socket with the pins on the chip, so this one is easy. We just put a little side and downward pressure on the lever arm, then swing it up gently. For this build, we chose the Asus ROG Strix B550F Gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. When choosing a motherboard for multimedia-related work such as 3D modeling and rendering, it's important to consider the features that will be most beneficial to your workflow. The Asus ROG Strix B550F Gaming Wi-Fi motherboard is an excellent option for this purpose, as it offers a number of features that are well suited for multimedia-related work. Plus, it has robust power delivery and effective cooling. It looks nice, has very high quality, and is not so expensive. There are lower-cost B550 options available, such as the TUF Gaming B550 Plus and the Prime B550MA, but Asus has a firecracker in the ROG Strix B550F Gaming Wi-Fi. Step 2. Socket the CPU. First, take the CPU out of the plastic clamshell. Next, find the little triangle on the CPU and match it up on the motherboard. Ideally, we want to put the CPU directly down with as little side-to-side motion as possible. We want to use almost no force whatsoever, just letting gravity do the work. Now, gently push the lever down and latched it. For our CPU, we chose the AMD Ryzen 7 5700X, which is arguably the best value in the Ryzen 7 5000 series. It offers plenty of performance for everything, from content creation to gaming. The Ryzen 7 5800X is also a good choice. Or you can go with the cheaper Ryzen 7 5700G. But we chose the Ryzen 7 5700X because it offers a larger L3 cache and a lower TDP rating. Step 3. Install the RAM. First, we need to open the RAM brackets for slots 2 and 4 since we are using a 2-stick kit. Make sure to line up the slot in the RAM stick with the socket, then push down and firmly apply medium pressure until we hear that click noise. Remember to apply the force in a steady motion and not a sudden movement, or you can damage the motherboard. We are using 2 sticks of 16GB each of Kingston Fury Beast DDR4 memory, which is high performance yet very cost effective. You are getting a stylish and modest RAM module with performance to match. There are cheaper options with similar specs available, such as the G-Skill Trident Z5 RGB and the Corsair Vengeance RGB RS. We chose the Fury Beast DDR4 because it offers less CAS latency and better first-word latency.
Step 4. Install the storage. Since the RAM is in, we can now focus on the storage drive. Our motherboard comes with 6GB ports, so installing the drive into the cabinet won't take much force, as you can simply slide it into place and secure it with 4 screws. When installing the storage drive, always make sure that the connection ports are facing towards the cable cut out inside the chassis, so that routing the cables will be much easier. For this project, we chose a 1TB Western Digital solid-state drive because SSDs perform 6 times better and more energy efficient than HDDs. If you're a little low on the budget, you can opt for a 500GB SSD. Both the Samsung 870 EVO and the Western Digital Blue are good options when it comes to solid-state drives. Step 5. Prepare the case. Once the storage drive is installed, it's time to prepare the chassis for the case. Once the case is out of the box, it's time to peel off all plastic films and use a small bolt to keep all screws you need to secure everything into place. To ensure that your PC operates properly, you need to make sure that the correct cables are plugged in. To do this, have all the pins ready and, using the motherboard installation guide, identify which cables go to the correct pin. Like everything else in this build process, do this part gently to avoid bending the pins. It is also important to note that any LED lights, such as the HDD and the power, need to be oriented correctly, with the positive and the negative cables installed into the positive and negative pins on the board. For this project, we opted to use the Cougar mid-tower case because when it comes to the chassis form factor, mid-towers are usually best since they are more economical. They are a bit smaller than a full tower, but it still supports most CPU components while also leaving room for future upgrades. And because it's bigger than a micro tower, it allows better internal airflow supporting up to 6 fans. If you have a higher budget, you can also go with the Corsair 400D airflow or the Asus TUF Gaming GT50. Step 6. Route the USB cables. This is also a good time to plug in your USB 3.0 header, USB 2.0 header, and audio pass-through. Audio is located on the bottom left of most motherboards such as ours. It will be labeled and the pinouts will be different to the USB 2.0 headers. Install your USB 3.0 cables denoted with the blue colored end into any available slots on the board, making sure to line up the pins with the holes in the USB 3.0 cables. Step 7. Install the motherboard into the case. Once the cables are in, it's time to install the motherboard in your chassis. First, find the motherboard's rear I/O shield and push it into the rectangular slot in the back of the case. Make sure it's the right side up by matching the pattern of the cutouts to the arrangement of the ports on the back of the motherboard. Next, lay your motherboard down inside the chassis by carefully lining up its rear ports with the corresponding holes in the I/O shield you just installed. You have to place this on top of the standoffs installed in your chassis. Then, it's a simple case of securing the motherboard down with the screws that came with your chassis. Make sure you use the right ones here as you don't want to thread standoffs in case you need to remove it at a later date.
Step 8. Install the power supply unit. Now that the motherboard has been installed, we will now install the power supply unit. To do so, simply slide the PSU within the chassis and reconnect all the cables needed. In some cases, an extra plate must be removed before the power supply can be installed, so please be mindful of that. For our choice of power supply, we have decided to choose Be Quiet Pure Power FM550W as it uses elite caps. A great alternative to Japanese caps, uses a rifle bearing which makes it reliable, operates silently, and is budget friendly. Other options we have in mind are the Asus TUF Gaming 650B 650W 80 Plus bronze power supply unit and the Dark Flash GS650 650W 80 Plus bronze cooling modular 80X PSU, which is a bit more expensive and maybe a little less advanced as opposed to our first choice. Step 9. Installing the cooler. We are using a liquid cooler as it is more silent and can withstand heavy loads from gaming as opposed to an air cooler. In setting this up, one must first loosen and remove the heatsink and then clean off the thermal paste with isopropyl alcohol. Then, align the water block and mounting bracket and make sure that the screws aren't overly tight. The fans must also be aligned onto the radiator before it can be installed. Make sure that the radiator is placed in a way that the liquid can continuously flow to avoid any hassle in the future. Our cooler of choice here would be Deepcool DP H12RF GL240B2 Gamax L240B2. Why? Because it is inexpensive, beginner-friendly, has great visuals, and its performance can rival some of the more expensive ones in the market. It also has a 3-year warranty which may come in handy. Some of our alternatives include the Be Quiet Pure Rock 2FX Black ARB illumination and the Thermalite Peerless Assassin PA120. Both of these are air coolers and they work just as well as our first choice. However, we simply chose a liquid cooler due to its silent performance. Step 10. Connecting and routing the GPU cables. Now, the only thing left to do is to route and connect the GPU cables and make sure all the other cables have been plugged as well. And you have now finished building your PC. But before we celebrate, let's not forget to download an operating system for our PC. Here, we selected Windows 11 due to its new and improved features, which makes it easier and more efficient to use. In addition, it can now run Android apps and it has a strong video gaming effects. We have also curated an application pack that may be of use to its users, which is the Adobe Creative Cloud for students. It contains multiple apps that are beneficial for content creators while still managing to be a good value for money due to its excellent performance.
Summing up our top choices for each hardware part gives us a total of 72,710 pesos, including the operating system and application of our choice. Apart from reaching the allocated budget, we also made our build as sustainable as possible. For example, in our setup, our power supply is rated 80 plus gold efficiency, reaching up to 93.5% efficiency, which means it has a low power consumption while providing maximum power. We also opted to use a solid-state drive, which consumes less power than the traditional HHD. However, if you want to make your build more eco-friendly, you can change your suggested brands to a more environmentally friendly one, such as a green or smart motherboard like MSI's Eco line, which allows you to disable unused features to save more power. Finally, we're done! We hope you like our tutorial on how to build a PC for multimedia specialists within a 75,000 peso budget. With that, see you again next time and thank you for watching!